Welcome to Rogan's Network. In today's video, we'll see how to configure an inter-VLAN routing. The concept of inter-VLAN routing comes into play when one VLAN wants to communicate with another VLAN. So in the previous videos, we have seen the VLAN 10 devices were able to communicate only with the VLAN 10 devices on the other switch. But now we will see how to configure the inter-VLAN routing so that the VLAN from the devices in the VLAN 10 will be able to communicate with the devices in the VLAN 20. To do that, it's in the same configurations that we have done earlier. So additionally, I have used only router. To configure the inter-VLAN routing, we'll be concentrating on the switch and the router which is connected to. So what we will do, we'll configure the Ethernet 6 as a trunk port so that it can carry the VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 on the trunk port, and we'll be configuring the sub interfaces, which is nothing but the router on a stick. So we will subdivide those interfaces and also assign the default gateway IP of 192.168.1.100 for VLAN 10 and 2.100 for the VLAN 20. So once we configure, the VLAN 10 devices will be able to communicate with the VLAN 20 devices. To do that, we will log into the device first. It's admin. Enable. First, we'll concentrate on the EOS switch, which is the second switch. You see the interface trunk. As you see, we have only the trunk port configured, which is Ethernet 5, and now we will be configuring the Ethernet 6 as the trunk port. To do that, config T, interface Ethernet 6, switch port mode trunk, and to check the interface trunk port, you see the Ethernet 6 is also configured with the trunk mode, which is in the trunk mode first, and also the VLANs which is allowed at is 1, 10, and 20. So once we have configured the switch, we will go ahead and configure the router. So I do not have the router, so I just had the router and renamed it as the router. And the interesting concept that I learned in the Arista is you can actually create the sub interface on the switch itself, so which is going to act as a router. So just for an example, right? So why can't we use it? So I just used a switch here. It's a good learning purpose, so that's the reason I just used it. So we'll go ahead and configure the sub interface on the router. So to do that, we'll go into the config mode. Before that, we'll just check the interface status. You see, no sub interfaces were created. To create the sub interface, we'll do interface Ethernet. We'll be concentrating on the Ethernet 6 right here. So 6, I'm saying no shut. And since it will be in the switch port mode, we will say no switch port. And then to create the interface Ethernet 6.10, which is a sub interface, I'll create 10 and say encapsulation.1q VLAN of 10. I'm assigning the IP address, the default gateway IP address of 192.168.1.100. Just the default gateway IP address of VLAN 10, and then type no shut again. And then for the VLAN 20 sub interface, we do the same with VLAN 20 and also assign the IP address of 2.100 and say no shut. Once done, save the config and we'll see the status. As you can see here, the interfaces, which is the sub interfaces, are connected and it's a routed port with the .1q encapsulation, and also the VLAN 10 and 20 is associated along with it. And also to see, show IP interface brief, the IP address assigned, we have assigned for the 10, we have assigned 1.10, 1.100, and for the 20, we have assigned 2.100. And it's up and up status. So now let's go ahead and ping from PC2 for a change from PC2 to PC4. To do that, ping 192.168.2.2. So we are pinging from VLAN 10, which is PC2, to PC4, which is in VLAN 20. As you see, we were able to send the packet from PC2 to the switch, and it goes to the trunk and to the other switch, and also it forwards the packet to the router and back to the switch and back to the VLAN 20. And also we will try to ping from PC 8, which is the last one, which is in the VLAN 20, ping the PC 6, which is in VLAN 10. To do that, ping 192.168.1.4. As you see, we were able to ping from VLAN 20 to VLAN 10 as well on this switch as well. So we have successfully configured the inter-VLAN routing with the concept of router on a stick, or using the sub interface has been successfully configured. And that's it for this video. And thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.